Hey guys, back to the Victoria Rose Part 3, the Victoria Rose and the Jane Sanford House Part 3. So this is my idea. Because people have discrepancies, and the usual solution is go to court, which is the worst possible thing you can do, because the only people who win in court are the lawyers. Because they make all this money off of you, and you're opposing each other, and they take all your money fighting in court, which is already a biased and very, very, very bad system. Why should one judge decide the fate of people who are in conflict? So I have been in the legal system, in family law, fighting on my own behalf for my child and myself, trying to protect us from the legal onslaught of the ex and the second wife. So I have some experience defending myself, also hiring lawyers. I have hired many lawyers. Oh my goodness. I've had 7 lawyers that I hired to defend me and protect myself, my interests, and my child. And in the end, all they did was take my money, and they barely lifted a finger to defend me, honestly. The last time I was in Maine, the lawyer I hired, demanded $20,000 up front or something. I didn't have it. I had to put it on a credit card. And for 1 week's worth of work. And he took advantage of my state of panic, which I was in. I was in a state of panic. Absolute top of the line, highest, most awful panic. And just knowing he was there was a comfort to me until I found out he wasn't doing a thing for me. And then I realized the whole thing was kind of a set-up scam to attack those from away, which my lawyer also admitted that the legal system doesn't like those from away, and that the guardian ad litem didn't like me personally. She had a thing against me personally that he admitted. I have that in text, and I have that recorded, and I have that printed out if I ever needed it. I mean, it honestly showing. Okay, so proof might not matter in a court of law if they decide to vote against you. You have to be pretty ballsy and savvy and hardworking to go and fight in a court of law. It's not easy. So this was my solution, I think maybe since we're all online and everybody's got access to internet mostly, and people can communicate genuinely, as in reality, I'm a real person. Here's my real mom. I'm not an actor being in an actor part. I'm not reading a script. I'm telling about my real experience with these different people and this guy at my house. And I was thinking that the best way to get to fix this, or to get out of the legal system, which is a corrupt system, overpriced, overcharged, not effective unless you're on the in club. And it's a bad system. So I'm thinking that maybe we help each other vote. Like, say that I presented my case to the public, and my opponent presented his version of the case to the public. Not just his friends and his in club and his Mainer club of workers that make sure everybody knows that there's nobody available except for them. So you have to wait for them to show up, and they're going to show up when they feel like it. That's the way the Mainers like to roll, and they all say it to me, even including the code enforcement officer guy. He just said it, that you have to wait for these guys, and that's it. And they think these guys are rock stars. And I'm like, well, the rock star actually falls from grace if he doesn't show up to the concert and play on stage. He's not the great rock star anymore, in my book, If they don't show up, why are they rock stars? In their own minds? Okay, you're a rock star for that person, but you're not being a rock star for me. You're not my rock star. I'm not buying your fan ticket anymore. I'm not going to, buy your poster. I'm not going to hire you anymore if you're not going to show up for me. And then show up for me when you feel like showing up for me, and then tell me that that's what I wanted. That's another very clever trick. These guys are very clever. They're like, I'm trying to help you while I take your oil and pretend, while I charge you to pay my guys for 16 hours worth of work that there is no way they did, and while I take your oil and then tell you that you told me to do that, and I'm just doing this to please you. Who in their right mind bought $1,000 worth of oil and wants to just give it away? Nobody who paid for it would ever want to do that, I mean, why should I give away that oil? That was expensive. I suffered because of that faulty oil system for many years. And that was my oil that I paid for. And I have been stolen oil so many times. I've been stolen. I once paid for a full tank of kerosene and I didn't even want to buy it. They convinced me I had to buy it and they filled it up and they were like, you have to buy this now. And I'm like, I didn't even want this. I'm getting rid of that Rinnai, that heater. And I bought this $884. I remember the price because it was $884, and that was a lot of money. And it was this big tank of kerosene. And I tried to get my monitor heaters, my kerosene monitor heaters, to work, and they were struggling to work. And the guy couldn't fix them. And the guys in Maine do not have anybody left who can handle kerosene monitor heaters. Those guys are dead and gone. And the new guys, they just want you to buy Rinnai heaters, which are anywhere as efficient. They're not the best thing in the world. My tenant's bill was $600 and she only had to heat 3 rooms. And she was like, shocked. And I'm like, welcome to my world, hon. It was that high partially because the Maine winter was so cold. I'm trying to get the cost of the heat up onto the tenant so that they will take more responsibility for not upping the price. And they don't like to pay the heat, but if I provide them with a really efficient heating system, then I feel like I've done good. And if they are aware of their own heat costs, they're going to be more conservative and more responsible, as opposed to just taking off their clothes, running around the apartment naked, and opening the windows and turning up the heat and making me pay the bill, I honestly caught a guy. He wasn't naked, but he was in a t-shirt and boxers. And the tenant, his girlfriend, promised me repeatedly, so nice, convincingly on the phone, begging me to let her stay in that apartment, and that she promised there were no children in that apartment, and there was no smoking in that apartment, and that nobody else was living there but her, and that she would not turn the heat up, and she would turn it down when she left for work at the crack of dawn and left all day. And she promised me, and I showed up unannounced and knocked on the door, and this guy with a little cute, adorable little baby boy, t-shirt, boxers, hanging out, heat up high, sweating, and had no idea I was about to come. And I was like, hey, tenant, you know what? I just found out you do have somebody there, and you do have a kid there, and this guy is running around in his t-shirt and boxer shorts, and the thing is way up. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. He was doing that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so I'll tell him right away. I'm like, okay, I really trust you now. I felt bad for her because I knew she was struggling and meant well, and I tried to help her any way I could, but I just could not. I can't have this situation where I'm paying heat for all these apartments and everybody's just doing whatever they want. I can't do it anymore. Oh my God. I can't even do it now because the guy took away my heating system. Even if I could have done it, I can't do it.
That's good.
What's good?
That you can't do it.
Do what? Oh, pay for the heat and let these people rip me off anymore?
Yeah.
Well, I can't now because the guy took my heating system out. I really can't. Even if I wanted to replace that system, it's like, or keep part of it. And oh my goodness, not being there is the worst. I am really good when I'm on site. Then I know what to do. I can't find my...
Oh, it's a good thing you're going back there.
I know. So what I was thinking was I would tell my story, my version, my way, my words out loud, and then people can tell me what they think. Because honestly, I could use some help, but I have my opinions about what happened to me. And honestly, this guy said, okay, his argument, this guy that works for me who took the oil, he says, oh, your son told me it was okay to take it and to take all this scrap metal, my cast iron radiators, which are broken now because I believe he let my house freeze. He says that's all my fault. Well, maybe it's my fault for hiring him, who I thought was going to help me. It wasn't for lack of trying. I did say I need my house to not freeze. He probably didn't give a shit if the house froze because then he could go and take all my stuff out. I mean, he doesn't want to move those heavy radiators, or does he? I mean, he saw the house. He knew that I didn't have a heating system. He knew the liner was broken, and he knew that I was waiting for this guy to fix it, and the guy didn't show up, and he said, oh, you didn't want the guy. It's like, I will decide whether I want the guy or not. See, this guy puts words in my mouth. He's so nice, though. He sounds so nice. Also, his mistake was deferring to my son for leadership. an authority when my son is not paying the bills. That was a huge mistake. Why is he deferring to a 23-year-old who honestly doesn't own the house, who claims to have been my eyes and ears, but didn't actually show up for a while and isn't there now? He still thinks my son is in charge. He still said, oh, your son, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's not there. My son's not there. He left. He bailed. He's not there. He's not working there anymore. Have you noticed that? Well, he was here till last week, which is actually longer than a week ago. And it's like, so what? He's not there now. He hasn't been there for at least a week, if not longer. That means he's not there. So how do you defer to him when he's not there? I'm also not there. So he's not there and I'm not there. So who's got more power to you? Who's writing the checks? He doesn't send I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to remain calm. I can do it. I can do this. I can do this. So I was thinking that other people should give their votes and opinions. The people. You know, I don't want some leader, some God, some king, some Solomon, some Henry, some Charles, some queen. I want regular people who hopefully are good people, like normal people, you know, not the elite corporate rich fuckers, just regular people to tell me what they think about this. Because here's the thing, whether or not I approved or allowed them to take my oil in that way, I didn't allow them to take that oil where it was going to cost me $1,000 to get rid of $1,000 worth of oil. That's just stupid. And because I wasn't there, I feel that they'd made decisions without me, which were the wrong decisions that served them, because now they wanted to charge me for 16 hours worth of work that I am positive, 100% positive they didn't do and can't prove that they did. And also, I would never have asked for them to take away that oil in such a slow way. He and I didn't discuss the oil. He wanted to take away those tanks. I didn't. Honestly, I didn't care about the tanks being removed right away. I thought it was more important to get me an electrician. The tanks sitting there was not the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world was not having an electrician for 5 months. That's the worst thing that happened. Because I believe that if I had electricity, he'd been able to heat my basement with a proper electric basement heater, then the house would have been okay. And is it my fault because I wasn't back there? Well, I'm sorry, but I was back there for a whole month in October. That was when I could go. And I have a child to take care of and a mom to take care of out here where she goes to school. And everybody knows this. I went there with a whole month to get this work done. I was physically there and he didn't come at all, except for maybe at the beginning, at the end. So it's not like he didn't know. He didn't respond. He's like, I'm not going to give you an estimate unless I can do the work. That's the other thing. This guy promised me an estimate back in October. Back in August, he promised to get me an estimate. And August, no estimate. September, no estimate. Where's the estimate? Where's the estimate, Chris? Where's the estimate? Oh, I get it to you. Oh, I'm waiting on someone else. Okay. October, where's the estimate? No estimate. We all think the estimate to fix the barn's about 20, 25 grand. That's what we're expecting it to be. So, still no estimate. He's waiting and waiting. He's got these excuses. He knows how to delay you. And then he tells me that I have to be patient and that my flaw is that I'm not patient enough to wait for him. This is the other thing. He promised me he would fix that barn before winter came. He didn't do it. And then he throws this $62,000 estimate at the last second after January 1st. And it's like, oh, here it is. So you better sign it or you have to sign this and then do it. It's like, wow. It went from $25,000. His first estimate was $7,600. That was his first one. And my brother was like, why is it so cheap? And then he waits and then he makes it 3 times what the original amount was. This guy sounds bad when I talk about him, but if you met him, you'd be like, oh my God, he's so nice. He's so nice. He seems so honest and genuine and real, and he seems so good. But then the actual actions are not. He's like, well, my other customers matter more. I'm not going to help you until my other customers are done. So it's like, well, then why take me on? Then why promise me you're going to fix the barn before winter comes so many times? I mean, I waited for him because I trusted that he was going to do it because he said he would. And these guys are all, I follow through. I always do what I say I'm going to do. And then when they don't, they're like, you didn't want me to. It's a madhouse. It's a manipulative madhouse. That's what we're stuck in here on planet Earth, which is very sad.
Very bad.
Very bad. And the thing is that the town that we live in that we're talking about, Belfast, they need apartments. They're hurting for in-town, walking distance to town apartments, which Mom has a whole building full of what could be nice apartments, and I have a whole building full of 4 grandfathered apartments. I bought it with 4 apartments, and I kept 4 apartments. And now they're like, too bad. Okay. I want my oil back, or I want him to pay half. And now when I go back to Maine, I'm going to encounter a house with no heat, no running water. When the water does go on, there's going to be a disaster of water ruining the walls. And all these big heavy heaters that I cannot move by myself at all, I can't even shove them a little bit, they're so heavy, are all in my breezeway. And there's going to be 2 half tanks of oil full of sediment and gross stuff sitting in the basement. Now, he's going to tell me this is my fault because I know how this guy works now. He takes no responsibility for anything, and he blames me for everything. That's what this guy does. Great guy. Move on, okay? You're awesome. You sound good. You had me convinced you were the greatest guy on earth. I thought you were smart. You passed the Tommy test, but in the end, you didn't show. You're a no-show. You take too long to do everything. If you're going to take 16 hours to take the oil out of 2 tanks. I can't even imagine a slower way to do that. It's like, did he do it with a spoon? 1 spoonful at a time? Is it? And did he drive did he put a tablespoon of oil into a mug and then drive the mug over to his friend's house and then drive back with the mug and put more oil in the mug and then drive back and forth? Is that how he did it? Because that could take 16 hours. Is that what he did? And, but you asked me to do this for you. It's like, no, I didn't actually ask you to take 16 hours to get rid of the oil. I thought he was going to do it in a day. I'm sorry, but I am not aligned with this. This is not okay with me. Mainers want me to be okay with this because they want me to pay their bills when they want them. And then this guy wants me to transfer money with no paper trail from my account to his account without giving me his account number.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, why doesn't he give me his account number? Then I call the bank. I'm like, this guy wants me to transfer money into his account today, right now, when he demands it. I can't demand his time, but he can demand my time. And but he won't give me the account number. Doesn't that sound suspicious to you? I'm like, do I really want this guy to just take a transfer? I was like, I need a paper trail. This guy does not want a paper trail. I'm like, can I just please write you a check like I do with everybody else and mail it to you like I do with everybody else? I'm good for it. I will not blow you off. If you do good work for me, I'm going to pay you. If you do shitty work for me and I don't pay you right away and I find out you did shitty work, I won't pay. Why should I? Why should I pay for shitty work? These guys want to say I don't pay them. That's bull. I've heard that rumor. Oh, she doesn't pay her guys. That is absolute 100% bullshit. I have never not paid a guy except for that crappy, what's his name, who built that plastic porch on my beautiful wooden Victorian. What was his name again? Something construction. His name escapes. He's lucky his name escapes me. Johnson. What's his name again? Anyway, that kid, that 36-year-old kid with a million kids who says, I did what you wanted me to do. I have children. You have to pay me because I have kids. I'm like, you didn't do what I wanted you to do. You didn't use a single material that I wanted you to use. And I told you up front that materials was so important to me. I really care about the materials. I really care about the style of the house. I care about it. That's why I bought this ridiculous Victorian with all this woodwork, because I love that stuff. I love woodwork. I love Victorian details. I'm a trimaholic. Honestly, I could spend hours at Lowe's with those bins of tall trim all in a row, magically beautiful, pretty trims that I can take and rearrange and arrange any way I want. I love trim. I literally drool over trim. And if I could doll up my house to be the fanciest little dollhouse in the world, I would. So every time I hire a guy, I let him know how important it is to me to keep within the style. Don't take away my beautiful dental work and put a flat board up there. I will have a heart attack. I will be devastated, Add trim or match the current trim, but do not take away and put something bland. I mean, the whole point of these Victorian houses is the style. And I'll be damned if I'm not going to do my best to keep that style. And they all say they will. And then I find out they don't give a shit about the style. They don't give a crap. No modern Mainer would ever build a house like that because it's too expensive. They would build a simple box, simple, easy to heat. They would not build this monstrous Victorian. I get it. But I do love those kinds of houses. And that's why I bought the Victoria Rose, which is now called the Victoria Rose, even though it's always been called 82 Church Street. The Victoria Rose. So you know what? This is my new strategy. I'm frustrated beyond out of my mind. I am not having any success getting an electrician, a plumber, and a decent carpenter who actually communicates with me where we understand each other. Instead, I got a guy who this is the other thing about this guy, Chris. He took away my heating system, but literally told me yesterday he had no intention of putting helping me get a new heating system. He said, that's not my job. I don't do heating. I'm like, well, why didn't you say that in the first place? If you're not going to help me get a new heating system, then why are you taking away my old heating system? Oh, because it broke, because it burst. Not my fault. You didn't show up. After promising me he'd help me when I was away, they all promise. Everybody promises shit they don't fucking mean at all. Excuse my French. What world is this? It's like a joke. See, I think that I was told by Mainers that they don't like people from away. They don't like people from New York. They don't like people who move to California, and they will do anything to take advantage of those people. They don't have any shame about admitting that. The code enforcement officer in Rockport told me that. He admitted it. He goes, I said, yeah, do Mainers hate people who move to California? Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Why? Because they're in good weather, So we're hated here, Mom and I. Are we hated? Well, I am. Everyone loves Mom. I'm the one that gets hated on. I must be doing something wrong. I used to be loved. I don't know. These guys, they love to hate me, honestly. They do. And the dumb ones that are usually my buddies, they're the ones who tell me the truth about how I'm being scammed and hacked and taken advantage of. They can't even hide it. You know what else? Why the other reason they tell me the truth is because for some reason people just tell me the truth. They tell the truth around me. So these guys can't even lie. Of course, you got to be pretty masterful to lie in front of me. Because most people get around me and they just pour their honest heart out. That's what they do. They tell me their truth. They tell me their heartfelt, deepest, darkest secrets. I swear to God, I'm not even kidding. I can meet somebody I've never met, who's maybe coming over to check out the painting job, and we'll end up having this conversation, and he will end up telling me every single part of his personal life that for absolutely no reason other than he just needs to confess. It's almost like I'm some sort of like person they confess to, or I don't know, they share. Maybe they think I'm going to understand it somehow, but they always talk about their personal love life with me, and it almost comes pouring out as if they don't even know they're going to do it. It just, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm a good listener, even though I am a good I can talk and talk and talk, but I'm a good listener too, and I ask questions, so they'll tell me everything, and I don't mind because I like to understand. I'm like, I'm fine, good, sure. You need to say it all. Okay, I hear you, So if someone lies in front of me, they're probably a sociopath because honestly, people don't lie in front of me normally. People do tell the truth, I feel. That's my experience. Now the ones who are very clever can argue either way, and it's tough. So we have to trust people, and I trusted this guy, and he took 16 hours to take my oil at my expense. My oil that I paid for, which was perfectly good oil. And even if some of it was full of sediment, the rest of it was good. And, you know, I'm going to have to make some phone calls and find out how much oil is these days. I seek protection for Mom and I and our houses and all the children on this planet. And I seek common sense, intelligent, honest. Do they even have these kinds of people anymore? I thought they did. I thought this guy was one of those guys. I'm sure that, you know, he seems so nice and genuine.
Oh my goodness.
And he does good things according to what he told my son. He seems like this great guy. And I was all excited. I thought, well, good, this is good. He'll inspire my son and he'll teach him, he'll learn, he'll, you know, and they like each other, but neither one of them's on site. And I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, God, Deborah.
I know.
Oh, my God.
So I thought that if I talked about it openly, then maybe I could redirect this negative karma that I apparently have with trying to get good workers from Maine, and either get the good workers from Maine or hire someone from away to come in. Now, if you're an electrician and you're any good and you want to come over, I will put you up in a hotel and I will feed you really well if you would come and do my mom's house and my house. It would be a really fun time. You have to be really good, honest, a solid worker, a good worker. You have to be licensed and know what you're doing. And then, I will agree on a price and I will set you up in a nice hotel. And I would be happy to do it because it's better than hiring somebody who will not show up for 6 months. And if you come and you're a real electrician from anywhere who's really good with credentials and you want to go to a beautiful, small, cute, adorable town in Maine and work on these 2 beautiful, old, amazing houses that, you know, and take away all the old knob and tube and put brand new, perfect, you know, wiring in, and you would be greatly blessed and get many blessings and also money and a really fun time and good food and a nice place to stay. And I would be so grateful. And when I wish good bennies for people, they get good bennies, meaning benefits, bennies. I got that word from my brother. He calls them benefits, bennies. So, because usually when you own a business, you have to give some bennies to your, you know, extras to your customers. Wow, look at that vein. See, this is why nurses like me, because I got this big, bold vein right there that they can easily stick their needle into and grab my Rh negative blood. So that's that video for now, guys. Please, God, Goddess, Mother, send Mom and I the perfect electrician as soon as possible, who's really smart and easy to work with and fun and available and great and perfect in every way for this job. And please, we will pray. Let us pray. We attract the perfect electrician and the perfect plumber, and everybody else gets a really great plumber too, because nobody has a good plumber in Belfast. According to what I hear. Wow. I don't have a good plumber. He says I chased away his team. His argument is, you chased away my team by sending texts in the middle of the night. God. It's like there's a 3-hour time difference. Sending a text, the reason it works for me is that you can read it when you want to. If you don't feel like reading it, don't. When you can, then it's there. That's why I think, so as opposed to an actual phone call where you have to in real time communicate and totally could be misunderstood. And if it's not in writing, it's not in writing. This guy doesn't want anything in writing except for that 62,000 barn redo. I have paid everybody on time to my loss. And I didn't want any of these guys ever accusing me of not paying them, so I paid them all. I figured, well, I'm done. I am done paying for something I don't get. And I am done paying for something I have to redo. And I'm not there, and this guy wants to work when I'm not there, but I'm not doing it. So it's just going to have to sit and wait.
Good.
And I'm going to go see his work when I get there. And
That's
all the
smart.
pieces are there. So those radiators, which I wish, and they're a couple, they are big and heavy, but they do work really well when your system is set up correctly. And I don't have a choice now because they broke.
God.
It's a shame. Whose fault is it? Does it really matter? The bottom line is I hired 2 guys and asked for my son's help to save the house, my house, from the pipes freezing, which has never happened before in the whole main house, but except for the little bit over on the kitchen and the L. But I've never, and it's always been okay until this year. When I hired, Moonlight Oil to come and clean my furnace. Your furnace is cleaned. You use who we actually owe them. Wait, who you use Consumers or somebody? I forget who you use, but there's a bill. But this guy came to clean it. His guy looked in the chimney. He said, "This liner's no good. I can't clean it till the liner's fixed." Then he hires his friend gives me a $5,000 estimate on fixing the liner. Right away, I got to put out $5,000, or this guy won't even clean it. But that's not the end of it, because I still had to redo this rusty pipe here. I had to fix the pipe going in, and then the tanks were rusty, and then some of the radiators needed tweaking, and I would have had to do a lot more work. But then this other guy offered a $2,200 chimney liner, but then for some reason, Chris thinks that I rejected that offer, which isn't true. I wanted to talk to that guy. I might have done it. I never got to, and he was available to come in October when we were there. And I was like, what? I still don't have Evan's phone number. I still don't have Evan's email. I said, can you give me Evan's email? He still won't send it to me. He says, you don't want Evan. I said, I want Evan. He's like, no, you don't. You told me you didn't. I said, like telling you I do. Well, no, he can't do it for you. You don't want it. He tells me what I want, and then that justifies why he didn't do it. This is madness. It's fucking madness. Excuse my French. I can't take this anymore. And yet, where am I going to find somebody to do this who isn't pulling me, jerking me around, making me wait?
You're just going to have to look harder.
Yeah, look harder.
Yeah, you can't hire these jerks.
I know. I know. I didn't even want to hire Mainers anymore because I know they don't want to work. They don't want to work for me. Who else are they? Who else? Why don't they want to work for people who have these houses on Church Street? Why not? We're there. It's work. Why not help take care of these houses? This guy literally doesn't want. He will not get me an electrician. He told me. First of all, he told me he had an electrician on his team. Then he told me recently that his electrician wasn't going to show, and then he couldn't get an electrician, and he had no electrician. He said, find one. I said, what happened to your electrician? He goes, well, go find another one because he's not showing up. Within 20 minutes, that guy, Aaron, calls me up and offers to work for me. So I said, Chris, if you're not going to get me an electrician, then I'm going to go find one. I am not going to allow my house to go without an electrician. I hired you because you had an electrician. I thought you were this great guy with this awesome team of awesome guys. You came complete with an electrician who spoke my language, so I thought, and I thought my problems were solved. Now, 5 months later, you're telling me the electrician's not coming, and he has no intention of coming. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go find another goddamn electrician if I have to. And so then 20 minutes later, his electrician calls me and acts like he's going to do it and sets a date. I'm like, oh, wow, I just thought you couldn't do it. Now you're doing it. Which are you? And this is the same guy who didn't show up in October until the very end and didn't get me a basement heater, that was the thing I needed, which we talked about. He claims that I said I wanted a propane heater in my basement. I'm like, it doesn't even matter what I say, Mom. I swear to God, it doesn't even matter what I friggin' say. These guys will take what they want to hear and twist it and team up with each other on their scam. And I'm just left hanging. And that's what this is why I need to go become my own electrician. Only the homeowner is allowed to touch their house in Maine, or a licensed electrician. I'm not going to get a licensed electrician. I think that's become pretty clear. So I almost want to, if I could only get my cousin Peter to come and teach me how to do it. This guy said, you have to do the actual electrical work. You cannot hire your friend to come do it for you. You have to do it yourself. What do you fucking care, you know? So I was like, okay, I'm going to get somebody who knows, who's going to walk around with me, and I will do it while they tell me what to do. And that's how I'm going to learn. Because I do like to learn about how the house works. What I don't like to do is just let them do whatever they want. If I'm paying somebody to do something on my house, I want to know exactly what they're doing and why and how it works so I understand my house. Because I know that if I'm sitting there and I don't have my handyman husband around, which I don't have, and something happens, I want to know what to do. I still probably won't remember what to do, but at least I'll have some idea. And it is a house. It's not that hard. It's not brain surgery. It's a friggin' house. It's got walls and a heating system and a basement and lighting and plumbing. That's what a house is. Is it really that hard? I can do it. I can at least understand it.
Yes.
Even if I can't do all of it.
Right.
I mean, lifting those heavy radiators, that is not something I can ever do. So I'm stuck with these radiators sitting in there until I figure out how to deal with it. And Chris's attitude is, well, if you're not going to do it my way, go do it yourself.
You don't need him.
Yeah. I will prevail somehow in the end. I hope. See, I think that house has some special guardian angels around it.
Really?
I do think so. I think that house has some protector guardians. Richard might be one of them, unless he's reincarnated. And I don't know, because I've sometimes gone back there and I haven't done a thing for landscaping, and I haven't hired anybody to do anything, and I don't know whether anybody's done anything, and no one's done anything, and somehow the yard looks perfect. And I'm like, how is this tree perfectly trimmed?
Maybe one of your tenants does it.
Well, I used to have a tenant that did that stuff. In exchange for rent, he would keep on top of the property, because that's another deal I used to offer was live at the house and take care of it, keep an eye on it, let it make it, but then all they did was rack up the heat bill was so high. I just didn't.
Because you're not there.
I'm trying to achieve it so I don't have to be there all the time. Honestly, I think the only way for me to do that is to just shut it down in winter and be there in the summer. And that's the way I'm going to have to roll. And I didn't ever want to do that because I never wanted to turn the heat off and drain the pipes. That's just something so foreign to me. I don't ever want to be, because I don't understand that. I have a fear about taking the water out of the pipes and then not knowing how to get it back in and then it just messing up. So it's a big house. So get the water all the way through all of those pipes is going to take time. So I've never really been in favor of that. I've always wanted to keep it warm and in good shape through the winter, because it used to be like that. Chris just wants everything to shut down. He just wants to take all the stuff and sell it. He doesn't understand, in my opinion, from my experience, I wanted to keep the house running so that I could get a tenant in there that was paying the rent and helping me pay for this. And instead, he said, why didn't you ask me to winterize your house? I was like, I thought I was asking you to winterize it. Meaning, let's keep it going. But to him, that means shut it down, close it down. I don't know this guy. I've never worked with him before. I'm just praying that he's, it's like the way you hire everybody. You're just hoping he's the new great guy. I don't know him. I do know that he puts people off and then he's a year and a half behind on almost everybody. So what does that say? That's too late. I'm sorry, but that's too slow for me. I'm sorry that I don't have the patience you require to wait for you to show up when you feel like it. Maybe you feel like it when you're not working for somebody else, but that's when you feel like it because you're not coming when I want you to come. I wonder if I'm going to end up in court with this guy. I hope not. I'm going to have to get a new judge. And the court system in that town, they definitely don't like people from away. Now, I'm already going to be biased against because I'm from away. Even though I'm paying more taxes than anybody else and all the salaries go to the town. So I shouldn't be treated like crap in that town because I'm I'm the one getting hit with the biggest tax base. So why treat me badly when I'm contributing the most? Because this world sucks? I mean, is that the reason? Are there good people on this planet? What are the percentage? What
There
is the
are some good people.
right?
I don't know where they are.
Where are they? We're good, right? Am I not good and don't realize it? Have I done something wrong? Is this my bad karma? Have I done something wrong to not? So I feel like I'm getting punished for buying an old house, and not knowing. You were worried about it because you knew that I was going to have struggle finding good guys, and I'm like, well, there's got to be good workers there. I can't be that bad. And sure enough, it was, but I still love the house, and it's still special.
It's a wonderful
I'm glad
house.
I own it. I don't regret
It's
it.
a great house.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I miss it. I like being there.
Yeah, I know. I'll be glad when you're able to be there.
Yeah, but we need the water to run. Now, how are we going to achieve that?
I know.
I don't think he's going to help us if we go back there and we rely on Chris and he can't make it. We have nobody. We have no house that has running water.
That's kind of scary.
And when the water does go back on, there's going to be breaks all over the place.
Oh my God.
And he's not going to show up because I'm there. He won't show up until winter. He won't work for me unless I'm not there.
Well, I wouldn't have him.
I know.
You got to get somebody else.
Yeah, who? Who am I going to get? Who are we going to get?
I don't
Please
know
help us.
offhand, but I'm sure there's somebody.
Low
There's gotta
battery.
be somebody.
Right. There's got to be somebody,
There's
and we
gotta
will
be
find that
somebody.
perfect person. And if you are that perfect person,
Yeah.
email me. I set up a new email. It's called Victoria Rose Jane Sanford House at gmail.com.
Good.
I'll include it.
Good.
Um,
That sounds cool.
Victoria Rose Jane Sanford House at gmail.com. I have like all these emails and all these Facebook pages.
I know.
I am flooded with social media things, but it's all about, you, me, the houses, the hats.
Right. Right. It's all about something.
Yeah, it's all about something. So, guys, I'm asking you for your help. If anybody's interested in helping Mom and I solve our problems with our houses, what we really need is an electrician. We need and must have an electrician. I did get a list from the code enforcement officer of all these different electricians. I honestly have zero faith that any of them are going to follow through. I'm sure that I will ended up checking off every single one will be a failure, but I'm still going to try, and maybe we'll get lucky. We have to keep trying. What are we going to do? We can't just let. We can't.
Are you going to be there?
I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
And that's why it has to happen in the summer
Right.
when I'm there,
Right.
not when Chris feels like it.
Right,
Or it
that's
happens
right.
to show up because he's got nothing. I thought I was waiting for Chris and that when I got him, he was all mine.
Right.
But lo and behold, that isn't true. He's still juggling me with a bunch of other jobs.
You don't need him. You got to get somebody else.
Right. Oh, I wanted to do 4222 and I missed it. Oh, well. If you guys are having a rough time, so are we. Let's all cry together in unison. Boo-hoo. Let's go to electrician school. Okay.
Yes, that makes the most sense.
Are we going to electrician school, Mom?
Yeah, let's go to electrician school.
Okay, we're going to go to electrician school. Mom can plumb. She can do plumbing. I can do it. She can do it. I can do it. Right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, guys, big kiss, love you. That's our video. Want to say goodbye? It's our video.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Send healing electrical energy. And we will send you blessings in return. Big kiss, guys. Love you. Talk to you soon. Next video. Ta-da.